Kurt Angle's biography, which premiered on A&E. It is a magnificent biography about Kurt Angle's life and career. Even though I knew a lot of things about Kurt Angle, but there were a few things that I did not know that caught me by surprise. And I just want to say I'm glad that this man is still alive to this day after watching this documentary for 2 hours. One of the things that impressed me about Kurt Angle is that before he went into the Olympics and won the Olympics, he really stepped up his conditioning. He would train 3 times a day for 2 years straight, non-stop, which is unhuman, but wow, that goes to show how dedicated he was to get better and to learn. He trained that Foxcatcher. That's something I knew. If you haven't seen the movie Foxcatcher, you should watch it. It's not about Kurt Angle, but it's about the atmosphere of Foxcatcher. Another interesting fact that I didn't know was that football was his first love. He wasn't even thinking about wrestling. He thought about being a football player. So hearing that part was very interesting. But everything happens for a reason. Sometimes the first thing that you love is not what you always end up doing. There's always something on the other side that you end up doing that you never thought that you would do. Kurt Angle grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The death of his father, the sudden death of his father, really affected the family. It changed Kurt Angle a lot. You could see that he got emotional during the interview as he was describing the moment when they were in the hospital. His father was brain dead, but they kept holding on, and his Kurt Angle's mom, which was his father's wife, said some prayers before she made the decision of taking him off life support. Kurt Angle describing his sister, how devastated she was, and they had to pull her away from their father. That was a very, like Kurt Angle's storytelling of that part. I can really imagine that whole scene played out in the hospital. 1996 was a very tough year for Kurt because Dave Schultz, which was like his best friend, a father figure to him, was killed, and Foxcatcher was never the same. And Kurt Angle, thanks to Nancy Schultz, Dave Schultz's wife, he became the first member of the Dave Schultz Club. After that, he went on to the Olympics in Atlanta, 1986, and he won the gold medal with a broken neck. And I knew about that, but that's just a remarkable story of Kurt Angle overcoming the obstacles in a very tough year that he had. After the Olympics, he made appearances on the Late Show with Jay Leno. He threw out the first pitch in his hometown at the old classic Three River Stadium. He had a lot of great things for him, but what was the big question? Where am I gonna go from here? And that's when Kurt Angle went to the WWE. And sometimes it doesn't always work well. You do well in the Olympics, but it doesn't transition into the big leagues. And Kurt Angle, at first, he thought he couldn't do it because he will always be in pain and sore from training at the WWE facility. But he stuck there. He checked his ego out the door. He wanted to learn. He wanted to get better at his craft, and he did. So as soon as he debuted in the company, 1999, November 1999, they booed him. That's something he was not accustomed to, but he gravitated everything quickly. You could say that he got pushed very fast in the company, but he was ready. He was ready of everything that was thrown at him. And Kurt Angle, he has a natural charisma about him. He has good mic skills. His in-ring performance improved over the years, and he emerged as a great technical wrestler. Every guy that you put him in the ring, he had tremendous chemistry with. He had great chemistry with Triple H, with Stone Cold, with Brock Lesnar, which was a magnificent rivalry, Edge, Eddie Guerrero, The Rock. The segments between Kurt Angle and The Rock they're just the best, and it's hilarious too. They had great chemistry. So all of those guys that Kurt Angle worked with, it made him become one of the best in the business. So I believe in 1 year with the company, he won his first WWE title. He won again in 2001, 2002, 2003. He just had a magnificent career, a great run from 2000 through 2004. I felt like those were his best years in the company. Now, I had no clue that when he left the company in 2006, that he was dealing with drugs, taking painkillers. I had no idea about that. The fact that he came close of losing his life because of drugs was taking over his body, is something that left me in shock. I think I heard about him getting arrested for DUI in 2013, but I had no idea that he had 4 DUIs in 5 years. And that's something that it was just wow. Because it's Kurt Angle we're talking about. He was a great representation of the company. So yeah, that was tough. Another important part of the documentary is when he talks about his sister, and this one was very heartbreaking. His sister dealing with drugs as well. She had 3 failed marriages. Kurt Angle gave her 2 ultimatums, but the second ultimatum was very steep because he said, basically, I'm paraphrasing, if you don't get cleaned up, I won't talk to you anymore. And he stopped talking to her for 8 months, and she ended up overdosing. And that's very crushing, very crushing. Overall, I'm glad that Kurt Angle is alive and well. He's a Hall of Famer, and it's a remarkable story because you have everything about him, not just the good side, but the bad and the ugly, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And no one is perfect. No one is. So, but this documentary was very well. It's one of my favorites of the WWE Legends biography on A&E. My grade for this documentary, I'll give it a A-. It's very well detailed, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and as always, be safe, and may God bless you all.